Good morning. We are on to the lecture number 5 on vector spaces, and we will continue with the notion of vector subspaces. I want to give few more examples and certain insights which will be useful for us later. Okay, so let us get started. Yeah, so let us look at what we did in the last lecture. So we'll continue with the example again. Okay, now let us look at R3. Okay, start with the vector V, call it A, B, C in R3. Assume B is not the zero vector. That is, at least one of the ABC is non-zero. Right? Let us assume, okay, W is a vector subspace of R3 and V belong to this. Right? Then what do we know? We know that for any scalar T in R, T times V also belong to W. Is that okay? Now let's define W naught as we did in the case of R2. All scalar multiples of this vector T varies over R. Then it's very easy to check that this is a vector subspace of R3. Okay, it's exactly similar to the way we did in R2. You understand? So let me concentrate only on W naught. Okay, let the W naught. Okay, I am going to concentrate. This is a vector subspace R3. I want to understand the geometry of this vector subspace. Okay, do you remember in the case of R2, when I had AB is the vector in R2, then this W naught was a straight line joining the zero vector 0, 0 called the origin and the vector AB, right? Something similar is what we want to show here, right? Okay, so now just let's ask the question. Suppose L is the line joining the zero vector and ABC, the vector B. Then we don't have the equation for the line. Okay, it's exactly similar to the way you do with R2, which you had already seen it, x minus x1. Let us assume it's a 0 by 0 minus a. You remember that? X minus x1 by x1 minus x2 equal to y minus y1 by y1 minus y2. In the case of R3, the straight line is given by yet another equation, z1 minus z2. Okay, therefore this is going to be y minus 0 by minus b, that is z minus 0 by minus c, that is this is equivalent to z by a equal to y by b equal to z by c. Do you understand this? Right. This is x by a. Right? So call this common number equal to t, then what do I have? X equal to a times t, or let us say t times a, y equal to t times b, and z equal to t times c. That is x, y, z is t times a, b, c. You follow that? So the line joining these two is given by the set of x, y, z. This is a subset of R3. It is given by set of all points x, y, z and R3 such that there exists a real number t so that x, y, z is t times a, b, c. But this is nothing other than our W naught. You understand that? Therefore, okay, look at W naught. It is the set of all scalar multiples of the given vector B, non-zero vector. Then it is nothing other than the line joining the origin 0, 0, 0 to the vector ABC. Okay, right. So pause, review, and proceed. Okay, right. Now we want to look at, we are notice that in R3 we are also seen, if I look at W to be a plane passing through origin, then that is given by XYZ in R3, so that some AX plus BY plus CZ equal to 0. That is, there exists ABC not equal to 0, 0, 0 and W equal to this. This is called, this is the equation of a plane, right? We have seen this is also a vector subspace of R3. Okay, right. Now let us do a little bit of theory before we come to some concrete examples. Okay, let V be a vector space over R, and let V be a vector in V. I want to know whether there exists a vector subspace W so that V belong to W. Okay, the answer is very easy. If V is 0, I can take W to be the 0 subspace. If V is non-zero, I can take W to be V itself, because V is a vector space. Therefore, that's not what we want. What we want is somewhat economical. That is, it should contain the vector V, but it should not contain too many other elements. In some sense, the smallest vector subspace which contains V. Okay, we will explain that as we go along. Try to understand. Okay, now what we want to do is, as we did earlier, suppose such we work backwards. Okay, that means what? Assume there exists W as such. Okay, as required. Then since V is in V, this implies T times V is in, sorry, W, and T times V is in W. Yeah, and as we did earlier, if I look at W not equal to T times V, as T is varies over R, then it's very, this is a vector subspace of V. Okay, we did for R2 and R3, but it's the same proof, right? TV plus, let us say T1V1 plus T2V2, sorry, T1V plus T2V will be T1 plus T2 times V. So it's again in W0 and so on, right? Okay, therefore, what we know? So notice that when I take T equal to 1, V belong to W0. Therefore, okay, W0 contains V, and W0 is a vector subspace of V. And if you say W is a vector subspace of V such that V belongs to W, then W0 is a subset of W. Do you understand this? If W is any vector subspace of V, then we saw that TV must be in W. Therefore, as T varies, all the vectors TV must be in W. That means W0 must be a subset of W. Is it clear? That is why you call as a W0 is the smallest vector subspace containing the vector V. Okay, try to understand this. Now that we have been successful with one vector, we can ask the next one. Okay, suppose U and V are vectors in V. Okay, notice that when we say U and V, we are not claiming U and V must be distinct. Okay, they may be equal also. Okay, you don't do anything. Okay, it just I'm writing. Okay, it's UV as a subset, maybe a singleton also. That's what I mean. Okay. When you write U comma V, there is a possibility U could be V. You should remember this kind of thinking. This will be used often. Now I can ask the same question. Does there exist a vector subspace so that U and V are in W? Okay. Again, the answer is easy. Take W equal to V, then it is there. Therefore, what should be the question I should ask? Whether there is a smallest vector subspace W so that it contains UV. Again, we work backwards. Assume such a V exists. Okay. Then what do I know? U belong to W and V belong to W. Therefore, AU must be in W and BV must be in W for A and B scalars. And since AU is in W, BV is in W, and W is a vector space, the sum of these two vectors, namely AU plus BV, must also be in W. You follow that? So it implies this, and that in turn implies this. You understood? Right. Now what I want to do is we want to construct like a W naught like last time. So what do you do? Let us take W naught equal to AU plus BV as A and B vary over R, the field, the scalar. Right? Notice that this is non-empty, 0 belong to that because I can take A equal to B equal to 0. Next, when I take A equal to 1, B equal to 0, U belong to this. And I take A equal to 0, B equal to 1, B belong to this. You understand that? So U, V, 0, these are all W naught. Okay. Next, what should I do? Okay. Let us look at A1U plus B1V and A2U plus B2V. They are in W naught. Now let's look at their sum. I can ask whether their sum is also there. Right? Using commutativity and associativity, I can rewrite this as A1 plus A2 times U plus B1 plus B2 times V. Okay. But this is sum A and this is sum B. Therefore, AU plus BV, that is in W naught. Do you understand this? So what I have done? Take any two vectors in W naught, their sum is also in W naught. Now take any scalar T in R, then T times AU plus BV is TA times U plus TB times B. Therefore, some scalar times U, some scalar times B. Therefore, it's again a W naught. Right? So what have we concluded? We have concluded W naught is a vector subspace, okay, containing the vector U and B, and if W is a vector subspace containing an E, then W naught is contained in W. Do you understand this? Go slow, make sure you understand. Okay, because what did we start with? If at all U and V belong to W, then we saw AU plus BV must be in W. That means take any vector in W naught, it is already in W. You understand? Therefore, you are shown W naught is already a subset of W. Now, what we proved was W naught is a vector subspace. Okay, therefore, what we conclude, as we did earlier, W naught is the smallest vector subspace containing U and V. Okay, take a break, understand, we will go next. Let us look at a very concrete example. Suppose I have R3, right? My vector U is, okay, yeah, maybe I should introduce in Rn, okay, these vectors are going to play an important role, right? The vector E1 is a n tuple 1, 0, 0, 0. That is 1 at the ith place, and E2 will be 0, 1 at the second place, after that 0, 0, 0. So what will be EI? EI will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and this one is at the ith place. Ith coordinate will be 1, all other coordinates are 0, 0. Okay, this will be used. This is an n tuple. So when I write R3, E1 will be 1 0 0. R2 will be 0 1 0. E3 will be in R3. Sorry, R3 E2 will be 0 1 0, and R3 E3 will be 0 0 1. That's it. You follow that? Okay. Now what I want to know is what will be in R3. Okay. Let me take U equal to E1, V equal to E2. Okay. What is the W naught? That is the smallest vector subspace containing U and B. Notice that it is according to us A times E1 plus B times E2, and A and B varies over R. Right? Now, what is A times E1? That is A times 1 0 0, which is A 0 0 0. And B times E2 will be B times 0 1 0, which is 0 B 0. Therefore, what is their sum? The sum is A B 0, as A B varies over R. The Z coordinate is always 0. I'm sure all of you know what this is. Okay. In place of A and B, if I write X and Y, you will know that. It is X, Y, 0, as X and Y varies over. Therefore, this is the XY plane. Okay. Defined by which equation? Do you follow that? Okay. Just before we go to the little more general case, let me look at one trivial case. Suppose the same R3. Hey, what happened? Same R3. Now suppose my U is E1 and V is, let us say, 5 times E2, E1. Right? Then what is the vector subspace W naught, which contains U and B? Notice that this is going to be A times E1 plus B times E1, but 5E1. But this is, what is this? A plus 5B times E1. You understand? Are you following? Yeah. U equal to E1, B equal to 5E1. So B to 5E1, I'm writing as 5B. E1 is common. Therefore, this is set of all points of the form A plus 5B 0 0. And A and B varies over R. But notice that this is nothing other than the x-axis on R3. You understand that? Just contrast. Now to make sure that you follow, suppose in R3, if I take my E2, U equal to E2, V equal to E3, what will be the smallest vector subspace containing U and B? Did I hear you say YZ plane? Very good. And if U equal to E1, V equal to E3, the corresponding vectors, smallest vector subspace containing these two vectors will be XZ plane. So this is given by X equal to 0, this is given by Y equal to 0. Yeah, very good. I think that's good enough. We'll come to do this thing later. Okay. Now, do you remember? I'll go back to this. So what we saw was this. Suppose U and V are vectors in V. What is the smallest vector subspace containing these two vectors U and V? Then we found that it is of this form. W naught, where W naught consists of all vectors AU plus BB. A and B are allowed to vary over all scalars. We saw that. What I want to do is I want to show that, okay, in a concrete case. We want to work out this in a concrete case. Okay, let us go. So let us look at an example. Let us take V equal to R3 and my vectors to be, let us say my U is 1, 2, minus 1, and V is minus 1, 0, 1. You understand this? Yeah. So I want to know what is the smallest vector space containing u and v. I want a description, right? Okay, let us go. Okay, so what should it contain? It should contain all elements of the form a times AU plus BV. That is, let me write as, okay, let me write A only. That is A 2A minus A plus minus B 0 B. And this is A minus B 2A and minus A plus B. You understand this? So all these vectors should be in W naught. Yeah? Do you understand this? I hope I did correctly. A, 2A, minus A, minus B. Right. Okay. This is, so you think you got all the elements in W naught, but I want some kind of a description, geometric description, which is easier for me to understand. So the first thing we should observe is something, there is an interesting pattern. What is the pattern? You see that if a point x, y, z belong to W naught, right, then x, y, z must be of the form a minus b, 2a and minus a plus b. You understand this? Take any vector x, y, z in R3. I want to know when it belongs to W naught. But any vector in W naught is of this form for some scalars a and b. You understand this? That means if you give me x, y, z in W naught, that means I should find vectors, sorry, real numbers a and b such that x, y, z is of the form a minus b, 2a and minus a plus b. That is whether there exists a and b in R such that this happens. Do you understand? So that means what are the unknowns here? Unknowns are not x, y, z. Unknowns are a and b. X, y, z is a given vector, right? So I have to solve equation. What is the equation? X must be equal to, this happens if and only if x equal to a minus b, y equal to 2a and z equal to minus a plus b. Now you can see it's something very interesting already. X is my a minus b, z is minus a plus b. Therefore, x and z are negative of each other. That is x plus z is 0, right? And what is y? Y is 2a. What is unknown? A. Therefore, y by 2 is a. Y by 2 is a. Therefore, what is b? Yeah. Do you understand what we are doing? I have to solve for unknowns a and b. I already found. Therefore, a is y by 2. Now I have to find what is b. I can go back to this. This is x equal to a minus b, right? I am supposed to find a. That means a equal to x plus b, and yeah, I want to find b, right? Yeah, so let us keep b at the other side. Okay, x equal to a minus b, therefore b equal to a minus x, right? B and a minus x, that is a minus y by 2, sorry, a minus x, a is y by 2, therefore y by 2 minus x. So I solve for a is y by 2 minus x and b is, oh, where did I do that? Oh, sorry, I keep confusing. Yeah, a equal to y by 2 and b equal to y by 2 minus x. Okay, sorry for the confusion. Yeah, we solve for it. Do you follow this? Now you do that. Okay, so what I have shown, please go slow, understand. What I have shown is, take these two vectors and W naught must contain vectors of this point, and therefore if you give me a vector x, y, z in R3, okay, I want to know what are the conditions on x, y, z such that it is in W naught. right? I want to claim I can solve for A and B. Yeah. So this is what it is. So what I have done, if you say XYZ is in W naught, then I have solved for this. That means XYZ is of the form y by 2 into 1, 2 minus 1 and plus y by 2 minus x into the vector minus 1, 1, 0. Minus 1, 0, 1, sorry. Now you can check the first coordinate will be minus 1 by 2. This will be again minus 1 by 2. Oh, this is equal to, therefore it's a plus. Okay. Y by 2 and this is minus y by 2 gets cancelled. Minus 1 takes, that will give me x. And what is the second coordinate? Y by 2 into 2, that is y. And here it is 0, therefore it's y. And this is y by 2, right, minus this object. Minus y by 2, because I have to do that, minus x, therefore minus x. Therefore this is the vector. Right? You follow that? Okay. Please go slow if you are confused. Because many times a theoretical one does, in a concrete situation, many students do not have how to go about. That's why I'm working out a very concrete, simple example, which will allow you to do that. Okay. Now you saw if x, y, z has to be there, there is some kind of a relation, right? Now I want to understand this. I claim this W naught is a plane passing through origin. This is claim. You understand this? Okay. So how do I prove that? Why do I suspect this? Because I saw something very interesting here. What happened? X, Y, Z belong to that. That means this x must be equal to minus x. You understood that? So this means y can be anything, but x and z are related. Therefore, I suspect the plane should be x plus z equal to 0. You understand this? Okay, we suspect it is the plane given by the equation x plus z equal to 0. Do you guess why? Let's go back. If x, y, z is in W, right, then I found I can solve for A and B. Therefore, x, y, z can be written as A times U plus B times B. So I write that. Okay. The next, what do I find? I find that and I simplify, then I find that it is of the form x, y, comma minus x. You understand? I took some vector x, y, z in W naught, but then I found the z is not arbitrary. It has to be minus x, whereas x and y can be arbitrary. That means x plus z equal to 0. So I suspect this is the equation. Okay, go slow, understand, we will look at it. So now suppose it's a plane, okay, let P be a plane through origin, okay, in which U and V are there, right? Any plane through the origin is given by the equation Ax plus By plus Cz equal to 0. This ABC has nothing to do with the earlier ABC, AB, okay? I hope you don't get confused. If you want, you can write alpha, beta, gamma, okay? But I expect my students to be more intelligent and they are not swayed away by symbols, okay? Is that clear? This ABC, this AB has nothing to do with the AB, okay? So when I want to say this, what I want to do, are you following what I want? I know U and V belong to W naught. I want to say W naught is a plane. And any plane passing through origin is given by Ax plus By plus Z equal to 0. Therefore, I want to know whether there exists a plane passing through origin which will contain U and V. That's the first question. Next, whether that plane P equal to W naught. That's the second question. Do you understand this? There are two questions. Find such a P, then show P is W naught. Is that clear to all? Okay. Now that means to find such a P means what? I have to find what is ABC, right? Just now I did that, but let's go back again. Okay. So if UV belong to this plane, then I have to substitute what is U. I forget what is U. Let me write U equal to 1, 2 minus 1. 1, 2 minus 1. And V is, I believe, minus 1, 0 and 1. Am I right? Or 1, 0 minus 1. Minus 1. Very good. Okay. This much I remembered. Okay. Therefore, if U lies in this, if and only if I substitute in place of x, y, z, 1, 2 minus 1. That means A plus 2B minus C must be 0. Since, okay, U lies in P implies this. And V lies in P, what does it imply? This is minus A, there is no B, and plus C equal to 0. Yeah, right. So what does this mean? When I add these two, this equation, what do I get? A cancel, therefore 2B is 0 or B is 0. You understood? Now, next, let's look at the second equation. Second equation says, this one says A equal to C. Yeah. So A equal to C and B equal to 0. This is the equation. Now, since A and C have to be equal, so what I can do? I can take the simplest scalar. Take A equal to 1, B equal to 1. Therefore, take A equal to C equal to 1. Of course, B has to be 0. Then what is the equation? Equation of this is x plus z equal to 0. So we proved this. There is a plane which we already guessed here. You see that? We proved it here. Next, what I have to do? So I have found a plane, okay? Plane. Now, what is the relation between this? Now, remember, P is a plane, okay? And U and V are there. And this is a plane passing through origin. Therefore, P is a vector subspace. We already know that, right? Okay. And U and V belong to that. Now, W naught, according to, is the smallest vector subspace. What do I know therefore? W naught is a contained in P, because W naught is the smallest vector subspace containing U and V, but P is a vector subspace which contains U and V. Therefore, W naught must be W. So when I want to claim P equal to W naught, what I have to show? Therefore, enough to show W naught, P is contained in W naught. You understood that? So you can see all these things deal with some kind of linear system of, okay, of equations, system of linear equations. That is why in my book on linear algebra, the first chapter I have spent time on linear equations. After you come to inner product spaces, everything is linear. Quadratic takes over when it comes to inner product spaces. Don't get intimidated, but what I say, this is for those who had already seen something about linear algebra for their benefit. Okay, so I have to show this. What does that mean? That means you give me any vector in P naught. Okay, let x, y, z be in P. I want to know that it belongs to W naught, right? Now x, y, z belong to P. That means x. Remember, that means what is the condition? There is no condition on y, but z must be minus x. That is, this is equal to x, y, minus x belong to P. Then if such a vector x, y minus y belong to P, the question is whether it belongs to. But I thought we had answered that. Yeah, go back. What did you answer? You answered that any vector of the form xy minus x. Okay, if xyz belong to w naught, then we said it is must be of the form xy minus x. If you don't like it, I can again work it out. Okay, so what do I want? Xy minus x. I want to know whether I can write it as, again, this a and b will be distinct. Okay, what is u? 1 2 minus 1. 1 2 minus 1 plus b is minus 1 0 1. All right, whether I can write it like this. Okay, whether I can find scalars so that I can write it, then this means it is in w naught. Okay, but this means what? This is a minus b, and this is 2a, and this is minus a plus b. Therefore, can I solve for it? Therefore, y equal to, I have to solve for a, therefore a equal to y by 2, we did earlier, and x equal to a minus b, therefore b equal to a minus x, that is y by 2 minus x. So I solve for it. Okay, I'm just repeating the proof. Okay, I hope you understood. So what have we shown? Don't be intimidated by this much of competition. That's all easy. Okay, this is pure, I mean, A standard algebra is what you are doing. Okay. Okay, you should not get intimidated by this. So, but let's try to understand. What, in summary, what I have done, I took v equal to R3, took two vectors u and v, and I showed the smallest vector subspace containing u and v is a plane passing through origin. Yeah, have you understood this? Okay. And we know any plane passing through origin is a vector subspace of R3. This also we know. Do you understand this? So we have exhibited lot of vector subspace of R3. And we are also given a concrete description. Since the W naught is a plane passing through origin, can I write down the equation of the plane? That we are able to do that. Okay. Just as a homework, do this so that you will be very happy. Okay, exercise. I will give the final answer because I have noted the details so that let us not split too much our hair. V equal to R3. My U is 1, 2, minus 1, and V is minus 1, 1, and 2. Okay. So W naught, we want to say it's a plane passing through origin. And I want to find the equation of the plane. This is all we want. So proceed as earlier. Okay. And find out the plane is given by, let me see. Yeah, the plane is given by minus 5x plus y. I hope minus 3z is 0. So what are the things you have to show? Go back, go slow, right? You have to say, take W naught to be the plane. So I want to say this equation. So what, the W naught equal to P. Therefore, you give any vector U and V in W naught, you have to say it is in P. That is very easy to check. That is, take AU plus BV and substitute here. You should see whether it satisfies the equation. So now you are verifying. You understand that? Whereas in the last time, I found out the equation. Maybe I should have erased it. I should have given you, find the equation. Anyway, try that. Okay. And with this we'll stop. And yeah, there is one more thing. Yeah. Because I don't want to go to the third one. Let me see that. Okay. Now, this is one theoretical observation. Suppose W1 is a vector subspace of V and W2 is a vector subspace of V. Then let's look at W1 intersection W2. Notice that 0 will be there, right? Therefore, this is non-empty, right? Now I want to know whether this is a vector subspace of V. That's very easy. Start with x and y in the intersection, then x and y are in the intersection. That means x and y are in W1, and as well as x, y, and y are in W2. Since x and y are in W1 and W1 is a vector subspace, x plus y belong to W1. Similarly, x plus y belong to W2. That means x plus y belong to W1 intersection W2. Similarly, scalar multiple. Therefore, intersection of two vector subspaces is again a vector subspace. It may happen it is 0. For example, when you equal to R2, right, take W1 to be the line y equal to 0. This is the x-axis. Okay, let me give a different color. And the other one is the y-axis. Okay, this is y equal to 0. This is x equal to 0. Their intersection is only this point. W2 equal to, so W1 intersection W2 is 0. Yeah, okay. But in any case, the intersection is a vector subspace. Okay, you can extend it to finitely many also. Suppose W1, Wj is a vector subspace of this, 1 less than equal to j less than equal to some number, then W1 intersection W2 and the intersection Wn will be a vector subspace of V. This is easy. Okay, you can directly prove or you can prove it by induction. Okay, but what we want to say is something much more general. So let us start with some abstract set theory. Okay, this is set theory first. Suppose X is a non-empty set. Okay, P of X is set of all subsets. It's a subset. Okay, this is what we call power set. Okay, now what I want to do, I look at a script a collection of P of X. That is, this is a collection of subsets. Notice that P of X is collection of all subsets of X, whereas A may be only collection of subsets. For example, A may be only singleton sets, subsets, some such thing. Okay, or for example, if X equal to R, P of X will be all subsets of R, but my A may be only collection of introverts. Right? Therefore, if I take set of rational numbers, that's not going to be in A. Do you follow that? So whenever you learn such things, you always think of some simpler examples so that you feel comfortable. So this is not necessarily equal to P of X. That's what I want you to know. Because if you are a second year BSc student, these things should become a little more. Okay. Now I want to say the intersection of subsets in script A, in the collection. This is I want to define. We want to define this. Right? Suppose my script A consists of only A1 to AN. The intersection of subsets will be what? Will be A1 intersection A2 intersection AN. You understand? I want to generalize it for any family. It may be infinite family. That is, the collection may be infinite collection. You follow that? So I want to define this. How will I do that? What does it mean to say? See, this is a subset, right? This is a subset of X. So when does X in capital X belong to this subset A1 intersection A2 intersection AN? If and only if, call it A script. If and only if X belong to AJ for every J. That is, X belong to AJ for every subset AJ in this finite collection script A. Do you understand that? Pause, review, and proceed. If you want, please rewind this and then play this video again. Now I want to define, I will define this as script A. This is A1 intersection AN. This is just a notation. Usually, traditionally, you may write it as AJ, J equal to 1 to N, just because you listed the elements A1 to AN. But let's go back. This is A is a collection. There is nothing like a list. I do not know how you collected them. Okay. Then I want to define script A, the intersection script A. This is what we are defining. Okay, this is the notation. This must be a subset of X. So I go by this. Therefore, X in X belong to this subset if only if X lies in A for every subset A in script A. Do you understand this? Do not try to think, just to try to learn to move with symbols now. Okay, I do not know what script A contains, but what all I have to make sure is you give me an element. This is my X. Okay, these may be various subsets. I don't know how many are there, but if you give me an X, okay, I want to know whether X is going to be there. That means what? X must be in each and every element A in the script, in the collection script A. Okay, try to repeat, internalize, then you can go to the next one. Now what I want to do is, suppose this is a collection of vector subspaces. Of a given vector space B. It may not be a collection. It's not the collection of all vector subspaces. This is only a collection of vector subspace of B. You understand this? Okay. Now what? Then we are defined what is script in. Therefore, this is a subset of vectors X in B such that X belong to W for each W in script W. You understand this? Now, is this a vector space, vector subspace? This is a question. So let first notice that 0 belong to this. 0 is a vector. Okay. Does it belong to this? Yes, because 0 belong to W for each and every W in script W. Therefore, this is this intersection has 0 vector. Do you follow that? Next, suppose X and Y are in the intersection. This is just a notation, remember? Okay, then I want to know whether X plus Y belong to this. This is a question. But X and Y belong to W. That means X and Y belong to W for each W in script W. But since W is a vector subspace, X plus Y belong to W. For which W? For each W in W. That means X plus Y belong to intersection W. Do you follow that? Similarly, T is a scalar. Since X is in, suppose X belong to script W, that means X belong to each and every vector subspace W in the collection script W. Right? This is script W. Okay. Therefore, T times X belongs to W. For which W? For each W in the script W. Right? Therefore, this is a vector subspace. If you find it little too abstract, okay, go through it again once or twice. Okay, discuss with your friends, you will feel more comfortable. Just okay, just to get you interested, let us see. Yeah. All right. Now suppose script W is the set of all vector subspaces. Then what do you expect script W to be equal to? Notice that suppose B equal to R2, we saw what are all the vector subspaces of R2. What are they? Either they are 0, sorry. Yeah, we saw that, right? Yeah, either they are 0 or they are lines passing through origin or it's all of R2. Therefore, if I take intersection of all this, that means start with the vector xy, when does it belong to all of this? Right? Notice that xy must be in 0, 0, but the only element which can be in this trivial the 0 subspace will be 0, 0. That means if xy belong to this, that means sorry, the vector x belong to this means x must be 0 vector. Do you understand this? Because the 0 vector also is an element here, therefore x must be in the 0 vector. That means x must be 0. Do you understand this? Yeah? All right. Okay. Now let's look at the only example we did. Let's look at the xy plane z equal to 0. That is xy plane. And y equal to 0. That is xz plane. Okay. The picture will be difficult for me to draw, but I hope that this is xy plane. Let us say this is x and this is y. This xz plane. Okay. You understood that? This xz plane. Now I want to know what is common. This is your W1. This is your W2. What is W1 plus W2? Okay. I'll just try to draw some kind of a picture. I hope you get it. This is xz. So these things will be there. And this is xz. And the next is xy. So let us use some other color. Xy. Right. So what will be common? See, x is 0, z is 0. If some x, y, z belong to this, that means x belongs to W1, therefore z is 0. And it belongs to W2, therefore y is 0. Therefore, it means it must be of the form x is 0, 0. That is its x-axis. Okay. You understood that? Okay. Let's stop here. I hope you all enjoyed. This lecture had a lot more geometric content. Please go review. And if you have some problem with a collection of subsets and their intersection, if you have problem, don't worry, you can learn it later also. Okay, come back and see it, discuss with your friends or discuss with your teachers, or read our book on foundation course in mathematics. All these things will be explained. Okay, have a good day, take care, bye.